Well, thank you, Governor. And we've got 5 of the 16 task force members here. I know Dean Allen is here, Chris Rivera is here, Maud Gadola is here. Of course, Laura and I are here, and I think that's the group that we have here today. But there are 16 of us who worked quite a bit last year under the Governor's leadership to focus on the funding needs for higher education. And then we got together the first Monday in January at a school in Seattle to both unveil the task force's recommendations and actually do something that was a bit unusual, because we said we're not done yet. We said we would walk the halls, that the business community would get behind these issues, and indeed, that's what we did. And because of all of that work, we've had an unbelievable opportunity to work so closely with members of the legislature who are here today. And we couldn't be more grateful for their leadership, their persistence, and their vision in thinking about where we can go as a state. And we benefited so much from the opportunity to work with the leaders of our public institutions, the presidents of the 6 four-year colleges and universities in the state, as well as the leadership of the community college system here in Washington State. And because of all of that, we're able to get together again and say, we're not done yet. Governor, we heard you say that you're waiting for some businesses to step up and to step forward. And that's what we're here to do today. We're here to create for Washington State something that does not exist in any other state in this country. We're here to create an endowment funded by the private and public sectors together. We're here to create a fund that will support students today, students who will be in college this fall, as well as future generations of students who will grow up here in Washington State. We're here today to announce that Microsoft and Boeing are each pledging contributions of $25 million towards these new scholarships. Further evidence that you always get a round of applause if you bring your checkbook. But we're also here today because the contributions from Boeing and Microsoft will be matched as we go forward by the state itself. And therefore, we're really here today to announce $100 million of funds to support student financial aid for the people of Washington State. And there are a number of new innovations in the laws that were passed today. They put higher education on a stronger financial foundation as we look to the future. But even with everything that has been signed today and everything that is being announced today, perhaps most importantly, we're here to say today exactly what we said in January. We're not done yet. There is more work to do. There are more businesses who will join in. We have a big goal, and the governor put it best. We're here to look to the future and to create by the end of this decade an endowment of $1 billion to enable this generation and future generations of Washington students to pursue their dream and go to college. Thank you very much. Let me introduce someone who is not only a member of the task force, but who is just a tremendous partner as an individual and on behalf of a great company, Laura Peterson from the Boeing Company. Laura?
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Governor. This is a great day for Washington and for all those who share a commitment to making our state vital and healthy. Washington has become home to many of the world's greatest innovations and achievements connecting people, places, ideas, and opportunities in ways never before imagined. At Boeing, we see a future with huge potential. There will be many challenges, there always are, in leading-edge industries, but we believe it will also be full of exciting opportunity and great reward. To remain competitive and to continue to lead in a global environment, as the governor said, we need skilled, talented, and prepared employees who share a passion for exploration, intellectual growth, collaboration, and creative problem solving. Simply put, our people are our competitive advantage. And that is why we are so pleased to witness the signing of these two bills. They represent public-private collaboration at its best, a refreshed commitment to our students that ensures Washington State remains competitive and prosperous, and that industry, regardless of size or sector, has a strong pipeline of talented people to move their business forward. We would like to thank the governor for her leadership and for the hard work of the legislature to make these reforms a reality, and for refusing to say, along with the extended task force team, it can't be done. We are pleased to join Microsoft in pledging $25 billion to the new endowment fund that will make college more accessible and affordable for students and their families, and we hope others will join us in creating this lasting legacy. As Boeing approaches its centennial, we can't think of a better way to set the stage for the next 100 years. Thank you.
Those are very expensive pens, which will write very big checks. Can we take a couple of questions?
How do you expect to convince other companies to join you in giving gifts, given that there's no tax to break in here or other incentive to get them to give?
Well, I think there's two big reasons for businesses to step forward. The first is that I think that most of us in the business community recognize that we can only grow if there are talented individuals who can fill the jobs that we create. And the expansion of college opportunities here in Washington State play a key role in doing precisely that. Second, there is a very big incentive in this bill, because when businesses give $1, the state gives $1. There's a formula to ensure that this is affordable, and is affordable not only now but into the future, but this gives businesses something it gives businesses an opportunity they've never had before, which is to contribute to scholarships in Washington State and have the state step forward by their side.
Governor, what do you tell the parents and the students who may look at this, especially the tuition setting powers of the universities, that today you're saying it's more important to get a college education, but you may have put it out of reach of a lot of students?
To those parents, I say, one, this opportunity scholarships are there and ready for you. Two, state NEET grants have now been increased to the middle class and an additional $100 million this year by the legislature to make sure that they can remain eligible for entry into our four-year universities. This is not a time for us to let down. This is a time for us to push harder for students to go on to college. 2/3, like I said, of all the jobs in the future are going to require a college education. So I want every student in Washington State to be able to enter and get a high-quality education in the state of Washington. That's what these presidents, that's what these trustees are doing. The legislature has stepped up to make sure that middle-class students as well as low-income students can get in the doors, and now the private sector has joined with us to make sure that that day is possible. I think what we're doing in Washington State is unique around the country, but it tells you our world-class industries here believe that we ought to invest in our own students in Washington State to give them the chance at those jobs of tomorrow.
But Governor Gregoire, thousands of students already qualified for the state NEED grant and didn't get it because there wasn't enough money. Now we've increased the pool of eligible students by perhaps double, I'm not exactly sure the number, and we have a scholarship that is, although an admirable goal, no guaranteed funding for it going forward from the private sector. How these students you know, we already weren't meeting the need. How are we gonna meet it going forward?
So $100 million more was put in, and the criteria is no longer first come, first served. The criteria is those most needing, most eligible are the ones that are going to be chosen to get the state need grant. So to those students, again, who want a college education, look at our goals. 6,000 new graduates by 2018, 2,000 of them in the science, technology, engineering, and math, 19% of them by underrepresented students. We are not letting up. We are opening the doors to higher education in the state of Washington. No child in the state of Washington who's eligible to go to college should be turned away because they can't afford it. That's the goal of all the people standing with me today.
Not to take away anything from the need grant or the contributions of the business community, though, haven't we today, though, in your mind, made it a lot more difficult for students to go to college?
You know, look around the country. When the University of Washington is 11th out of 11, in other words, the best deal in America for a 4-year college degree, and they raised tuition 28%, and they're still 11th out of 11. That tells you what's going on around the country. We cannot put our universities at a disadvantage. We can't say we're going to keep, and that's what I like students to understand, we can't keep tuition as it is today and keep the quality where it is and the doors open. Tough choices in difficult times made by legislators to say, keep the quality up, keep the doors open. The private sector has joined us. Again, students around on Washington State need to know college education will open the doors for their future. They cannot let down. When you can go to Bridgeport, Washington, and you can see 37 graduate, 37 go to college, most of them first in their entire family history, you know the future of this state is bright. We're not going to let those kids down. We're going to be there for them.
Is this one of the shoes that's dropped, though, and the voters said no new taxes, no new revenue enhancements? This is the consequence of that, is that you're raising tuition at a time when you would like to lower it to get more students in.
Well, without new revenue, we've had to cut K through 12. Without new revenue, we've had to go to an alternative source of funding, tuition, for students in Washington State. So clearly, when the voters spoke last November, I and the legislature heard what they had to say, and we lived by what they said. But for the future, we, the state of Washington, with our values, are going to have to stand up and say, we're going to invest in education because that's the future of our state, and it's the future of our children in our state.
Governor, would there be more money for colleges today if one of those things on the ballot had passed, the high earners income tax?
Yes.
And that's something that Microsoft and Boeing both opposed.
Nope, I'm not going there. Today is a day to celebrate. And Microsoft just put up $25 million, and Boeing just put up $25 million. Today is my day on behalf of 6.5 million people to say thank you for investing